everybody, and welcome back to the Amazon EU Masters. I'm Hipper and he's Guubi, and we just had a definitely not as a one-sided stomp, but a very competitive game between Bifrost and BDSA. We actually have the support from Bifrost standing by, Joel. How are you feeling after that win? We'll bring him in first of all before I ask him that question. Joel, are you there?
I am here. I don't know if I'm in camera. Okay, now I am.
Yes, there you are. Hello. How you doing, mate? How you feeling?
I'm a little hot since usually when I play, not that way. Usually when I play officials, I get all sweaty when I finish games. So I have to shower, and especially if I play Renata, you know, I need an extra shower.
It was an exciting game from you guys. There was a lot of attention on the bot side. Did you kind of prep that? Was that because it looked like C Boy's game plan was I just sit bot lane and be like the third player in this lane? Did you expect to just have constant attention from the enemy bot that side as well? Or was that just kind of how the game fell as it played out?
I think both teams kind of fell into the clown fiesta, and we were just reacting to them since we have overall the better team comp, I would say. And yeah, if they didn't get constant attention on bot lane, I think we would stomp the matchup just because of how Renata goes into Thresh and just Jinx gets like free push and all the things. So yeah, they really needed to cheese gank or pressure us, so I cannot play my champion as I am supposed to. And I disliked how we played the early game and the mid game. We kind of didn't make our own plans, but it's too late to fix it now. And we're trying to play as good as we can until we can scream again, you know, and fix those mistakes. But for now, it's working, more or less. We took a win, so I guess it worked.
It's been a tight schedule for you guys as well, and there's not always some times to, really go through what you need to improve before the next games. Would you say you're gearing towards a final form of Bifrost, or would you at least say you're working towards more consistency now? What are the things that you guys as a team are feeling right now?
I think it's not difficult to see that we're not the strongest early game team, so we're trying to fix that. Because if we're good team fighters, and even though we don't play 1-3-1 comps a lot, I think we're good at respecting and playing those comps. It's just that whenever we try to get to 1-3-1, we're just too behind in the early game, and it just feels impossible. So yeah, that's what we are trying to practice with. I hope the other teams are not listening and they draft early game comps into us, so they abuse that. But if they do, I mean, so be it. We will try to win anyways. But yeah, I think that's the major weakness that we have right now. We're not really proactive in early game, and I don't really like that. I'm a guy that really wants to do crazy plays on early game, even though it costs me my life sometimes, and I appear like an Inter sometimes, but I don't really mind.
So one last question for you. Are there any teams that you're excited to be playing into? Any teams that you look? What team are you most excited to play against? You know, in this tournament right now.
I think everyone. I think we have a really decent group of high quality. Like we have champion of Spain and not the champion, but how do you say it? I forgot the word. Well, the seconds of France, right?
Yeah, runner up.
Are they? Yeah.
Second seed, they're second seed of France. Yeah.
And then we have a Polish team, which apparently won Fnatic Team Kesa, so I guess they are world champions or something. So yeah, the level is quite high, and if we pass groups, we're gonna be with another really decent team. So really competitive overall rosters. The CU Masters is just really fun to play. I say high level overall, and even though we're maybe not the favorite team, we can still put up a good fight. And I have some tricks, you know.
Awesome. I can't wait to see what tricks you've got up your sleeve, mate. Congratulations on the win, and good luck with your games coming up. We'll speak to you soon, all right? See you later.
Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
All right, so Guubi, it is time for us to look at that game a little bit back and just kind of figure out, what happened, because it was a bot lane fiesta. It was probably the best way to really sum it up.
Yeah, and I think even now, it was in a situation where Zhao, he had skipped a few camps, moved immediately down towards the bot side after taking red buff and Raptors. But even then, Crownshot and Erdo, they just woke up way too early before they even get their level 2. And because of this, they used to all their summoner spells. And that gets punished later when C-Boy comes down there, and then they get 2 kills. In the end, though, we are still gearing up to a situation where the team composition of Bifrost, it is a little bit better. It's easier to pilot. But despite that, BDSA, they're actually the team finding some of the better team sides, finding some of the better picks. But at times, they follow that momentum a little too much, and they overextend.
Look at Fury. He's such a slippery little rascal as well, isn't he? He's so hard to catch. Absolutely amazing kind of team fighting as we move later in. We praise C-Boy for the early game and able to kind of, stem the bleeding down bot side, because Odie was, Odie was having a hard go of it, constantly getting ganked, died like 3 or 4 times down there. But C-Boy was doing a good job of kind of stemming that bleeding and making sure that, at least there was something gained down there whenever Odie did go down, or whenever this action did break out, or there was some kind of punish for whatever was burnt in the bottom side. And then it kind of just got to the point where Bifrost, who, they said themselves, they are a little bit more reliant on getting into that later stages of the game. They got to that late stage, and this is their territory. This is where they're good. And you can see they just had an amazing show of it.
But I'm also wondering, what's it going to look like when they don't have the draft edge that they do, right? When they come into more even footing and there's more team fighting potential in the enemy team. Because despite Agresivo getting so far ahead by just like farming on the Aatrox, like he wasn't able to utilize that to anything. So yeah, a little bit of a sucky situation, but I do expect BDSA to jump back.
Well, from one French team to another, we are now looking at the first seed over from the LFL, LDLC taking on Bisons. This is over in Group D. This is LVP versus LFL, the second versus the first team. Talk to me about this team, Skullborg, because, this is LDLC, a name that you'll be familiar with if you've been following the EU Masters for any period of time. They've been around for a very long time. Obviously, I think I've said for the last 2 games is, the LFL are the defending region, and they've had a lot of titles under their belt.
Yeah, I'm just struggling. Like, we got Champ Select. I need to go over all the rosters. There's so many cool things to highlight right now with LDLC versus Bison. Like, we might even have LFL as a whole region go 0-3 today, which is absolutely incredible thinking about. And now LDLC, as you just mentioned, first seed coming in. Eika has definitely been one of the clutch performers. It feels weird to say, and I know a lot of fans have something against Eika as well at times, because he's not always the most clutch at moments where it really counts. But he's been stable for LDLC. I think the solo lanes have actually been really stable together with Yike. The bot lane has been a little shaky at times, and I mean that shakiness might actually get abused a little bit, or at least see different signs of it when you're going into a bot lane like Bisons, when you're playing up against a player like Guubi, who's got an ocean of champion pool. You look at the band so far coming through, Seraphine, Karma, that's because Guubi's the one playing these champions.
Yes, sorry, I couldn't pull it out what you had more to say. My brain just went, yeah, cool, man, yeah, sure. Let's take a look at the bans before I dig myself into a big hole here. The Seraphine, Zeri's open, so it looks like they are just going to look for potentially that as a pick. I am getting baited here by the hovers, so I'll look at the bans. Seraphine, Karma, Lucian banned away. J4, the Polybear, and the Viego said 3 jungle bans from the side of BSO.
Let me tell you why they banned this, why they let Zeri go through, and that is because Bison was the first team to bring in NASA support into the Zeri with the Wither, of course, when she starts being aggressive. This is a team that gets... I'd call them a little bit of a mad scientist team, They're the kind of team we will always have to the European Masters where they'll come in with picks that we have never really seen before. In their loss yesterday, they played Ivor in mid as well. So, this is a team who can sometimes get a bit too experimentational, but also in a best of 1 scenario, sometimes that can really gain you a victory.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You catch them out with something like that NASA support. I think it was Ari Top was the other one, right? Am I right?
Yeah, that was in finals.
Yeah, so, this is a team who aren't willing to kind of, concoct some crazy team. But we are actually going to see the LeBlanc get picked up there for Eika, so an aggressive mid laner. I'm curious to see what they're going to pair that up with in the jungle role for Yike. I'd like to see something that can kind of skirmish and scrap so this LeBlanc can back it up. We'll see what they decide to go for. Obviously, the Volibear, Viego, and the Jarvan banned away. Just heavily prioritizing on some of those jungle picks. But Yike going to get his hands on the Khazix, so it's the bug guy. Guubi, you look pretty shocked.
But it's been ages since I've seen a Khazix, and honestly, I'll have to go and look at Yike's match history, because this is not something I recall whatsoever. This is a dangerous 2v2 angle, and they're just fancying it on the side of LDLC. It's all jumping in there. Let's see what Bisons then actually want into this Zeri. It is going to be a neutralizer, and honestly, I'm a big fan of the Lissandra angle into the likes of LeBlanc, but also into the likes of Khazix. It means if you jump in, you're just going to get CC'd up, but we've already seen that one time today with Khazix into LeBlanc, or LeBlanc into Lissandra rather.
Yeah, this is such a smart pickup here. Like you said, it pretty much all but secures the 2v2 mid jungle. And then it's going to kind of be on, right, so where do we go? Where is the attention now? And I think that's what this ban phase will probably kind of sing a tale of, as we're seeing the Ornn getting banned away. Obviously, no team has picked up a support yet. So I'm curious to see if any kind of like unfavorable supports look to get banned away here. Or if they just decide to, let's focus towards the top lane and see what we can ban away from there.
We're all waiting for that Nasus ban. We just want to see it. Like, I kind of want them to pay that respect. And if they don't pay that respect, I legit just want them to, come through with it on the side of Bisons as one of the idle pick. Because I'm really a big fan of the innovation that we quite often see, and I think it is quite underrated. But I'll talk about it if we get it. So far, we'll put it on ice. We'll wait for it to happen. It seems like Bison, though, with the bans that are coming through right now, by taking care of the top side, they kind of want to blind pick a top laner for themselves, meaning that they can just get the counter pick support angle, which would pivot into an as a support. Okay, that was my last one. And with the tanks being taken away, I actually wonder what they're looking for here.
It could be quite a scrappy game, squishy health bars and a lot of action. Potentially something to see on the cards as the Nautilus gets banned away. And over to the side of Bisons now. I assume they're going to want to try and counter pick in the top side, but I guess they could also look for a good support matchup to make sure that this bot lane is comfortable and favorable for them. And it looks like they are looking to do that. So they're going to take the Gragas, something which is pretty comfortable blind in the top side, and make sure they get themselves as favorable of a bot lane as they possibly can. The Rakan obviously being hovered here by LDLC is a potential for Bisons if they want to go for the lovers duo in that bot lane. Does Rakan work well with Zeri? I can't really
the thing is, it does. You can go Shirelius, you get the shielding, you get the speed up, and it's nice. In turn, like Zeri with any support that, heals, shields, can speed you up, she's really happy about that. So you will pair it up with the Yuumi in this case, and that, of course, will give the counter pick over to Bisons. They can go for an aggressor who can try and catch Yuumi off guard when she's not mounted. Yuumi also a champion that functions very well on the likes of Khazix. She'll go invisible with him and just give him healing and speed up and all that. But Bisons, I like the way they're thinking of their draft, especially in the second ban phase. They banned away the two tanks, took the weak side of themselves with the Gragas, and then it's like, well, you can still pick Malphite if you want to, but not always the best pickup into Lissandra and Zhao. And in turn, another Aatrox will come through. Seems like the French teams, they might have been scrimming each other.
It might have been indeed. Let's see what Bison's final pickup is going to be here. If they go for something like that Rakan, or, there's the options of like a Leona here as well. I'm just checking my bans just to make sure I'm not an idiot. But they go for the Pyke, so this is very much, let's just go for a kill lane. We can rotate as well, because this also, Pyke, very heavily leans into what we were talking about with the jungle mid, is, they pretty much win these jungle mid skirmishes. Pyke roaming around as well and just popping into these fights just adds an extra layer of threat, and I worry for LDLC off the back of that. Let's talk about what their win conditions are, though, because, we've sung the praises a little bit of what Bisons can do. I want to hear what you think LDLC's game plan is here, Guubi.
I mean, if they get ahead and they can have the extended team fights, like that roster or that team composition is going to be really difficult to deal with. You're going to have to pivot into healing reduction, especially when you have a Yuumi, especially when you're against, an Aatrox as well. And not being able to pick up Zeri immediately might be a little bit of a blow for Bison. So I still feel like LDLC needs to get ahead, because I feel like if Bison gets to be the proactive team with their composition, with, once again, how Lissandra functions into teams, who's really easy to pick off guard, like the LeBlanc, like the Khazix now as well, you might be having some issues. So I definitely think eyes on the junglers in the early game, not so much for getting the lanes ahead, but the laners to get their junglers ahead.
Absolutely. Well, we'll keep our eyes on I think for me, it's the jungle. We've got to keep our eye on the jungle going into this game. I do worry that Bisons have got themselves a very, very solid kind of early scrapping jungle here. Paired with that Lissandra to kind of shut down and neutralize this LeBlanc lane, it could get really problematic for LDLC. And the question is, Are the LFL going to go 0-3 today? They have had 2 losses handed to them, one of which was an utter stomp as K-Corp almost got perfect gamed. I think it was a dragon and a tower was the only thing that stopped that from being a perfect game.
You're completely right. It would be absolutely crazy, especially from a defensive region. Random has forgot to buy items. Or maybe it was just, so the scoreboard has some issues every now and then. Maybe he has got the items, but when he ran out of base, he only had. Yeah, he does. When he ran out of base, he only had the minion materializer. The scoreboard is a little iffy now and then.
Well, you know, bug on the rift causes bug in the scoreboards.
That's what they say.
Defensive lines, though, getting started up here by both teams. Doesn't look like there's too much coming out, although Eika has got a kitty cat on his shoulder, so it's feeling a little bit more comfortable to walk up and just get a little bit of a poke off. And actually, looks like Bisons are just placing a ward down just to kind of spot where Yike will be starting. Yike now well aware that he's been seen, and I wonder if this means we might see any interesting jungle pathing from the side of Bisons.
I don't think it's going to lead to just too much. I think at least you get the, you get the luxury of having the tracking down on the early game, especially because they have no intel on Albetrayber right now. Top side not leashing, bot side not leashing, obviously. What this will mean, though, from the side of Guubi and Oscure, especially when Exakick is leashing, is that they'll have priority on the wave. They'll get to dictate it. They get to push it in first. And that's important when you have a Pyke matchup, because not only does that allow you to be aggressive in lane, it also allows you to take that tempo, put it elsewhere on the map, and try and have your influence there.
We're seeing in the bot lane already a little bit of early pressure. Obviously, it is the Xayah, Pyke, and Zeri pretty short range and got the Yuumi, obviously. It's the hooks looking to come in. Exakick going to take it. The exhaust goes down. Trying to keep the healing up, but the slow is not going to be enough. Exakick flashes away. Just about getting out from that one as Bison's got complete pressure down here. Another hook goes a little bit wide. And it's going to be a rough bot lane now.
All over the bot lane, as you're saying right now. They only have that flash on Exakick. All the other summoner spells are down, while Guubi still sitting on a flash. Oscure still sitting on a flash still as well. So you need to watch out for these flash hooks, and it's what we talked about as well. LDLC, their bot lane, they have been under some fire as of late, and they're gonna get aggressive.
They're jumping in with a flash here, but Yike's going to jump over the wall, and Obscure is left on his lonesome. First blood to Exakick, just like that.
Oh my god, that's brilliant pathing from Yike as well. Remember, he started on the bot side, then he moved up towards the top side, skipped the wolves, and walked down immediately to help out his bot lane, who's getting crashed on. Brilliant jungle pathing from Yike.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff there from Yike. Really able to turn it around. Remember, this is the LFL's first seed. There's a random taking a quick trade there with Eika. If you ever played this matchup, you know it is not fun for the LeBlanc. But here we go. Once again, Yike just really, really solid rotation, reading the map incredibly well, and Obscure missing this hook as well, crucially. Really, really rough.
It definitely is. Luckily for the side of Bisons, they're not able to continue the skirmish any further and also put Guubi behind. They do deny some CS. They do put them in an iffy situation where Exakick is in a slow push and he'll still have to move forward. So the situation is definitely not safe just yet in that bot side. They will still be struggling a little bit, especially if Albetrayber start making his way down there as well.
Yeah, that's the question, is where is Albetrayber going to look to try and make some plays go down? The moment, just done a full clear of his jungle, is potentially looking to go into this lane. Will know that there's a ward, so decides to call it off. Was thinking about potentially jumping in. As a Yike. We'll actually see this camp spawn. But doesn't actually know where Albetrayber is, so doesn't want to go for it.
We'll just get some tracking. Top side being pushed in as well. Myrwn still just chilling a little bit. He is mostly just a weak sider. He's sitting, just stacking his tier, just clearing wakes, having a good time. He's mostly there for the team fight. And the team fight, that is where things start getting explosive. I probably will say Bisons have a better team fight composition as well, just due to the fact that, once again, whenever somebody dives in, well, there's a Lissandra, there's someone to be worried about. And now, going back to the bot lane, as we talked about, this slow push that Exakick had, afterwards clearing the waves under the tower, is still getting punished. Guubi still haven't based, neither have Exakick, but he really can't at the moment, just due to the fact he's going to be missing a lot.
Oh, Ragner might just be looking for it. An easy pickup here as he ticks over to level 6. Ragner with a just really flawless 1v1 there in the top side.
It's something Ragnar has done so many times. We've seen him on the likes of Akali as well. The guy barely gets resources, and he still makes plays like that work. He's just so damn good in the top lane. Myrwn, a little bit of a mistake there getting solo kill, but nonetheless, for LDLC, this is one of their strengths. Having their solo laners take charge has been the reason that they've won so many games in the LFL.
Been able to build up a pretty heavy CS lead as well, though. Is able to catch up somewhat in the top side as Wave does crash into the Gragas. Mid lane, Ike's been handling this matchup pretty well, to be honest, but now that level 6 has come in for random, there is that constant threat of if Albetrayber's about and Ike jumps in for a trade, he just gets caught out by the ultimate, doesn't wait out the W basically, and then will just get blown up.
But it just feels so bad to build Mercs on LeBlanc. Like, Ike sees this as a necessity here, but not having those magic pen for the Sorks boots, that's definitely going to hit later in this game if you're looking for the one-shots on some of the squishies.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to really kind of stunt the growth of Eika in this lane matchup, especially when it is rush onto the Merc treads. It really shows you how rough of a lane matchup this is. Exakick able to obviously pick up that first kill. Running around with the buildings of that Trinity Force onto Exakick. Just putting down some vision and trying to feel a little bit more comfortable down here. Yike's in the area and Obscure might try and catch them out, but that could get a little hairy for them. So they do finally spot him out.
Good trade from Guubi there, and you can also just see the CS differential right now. There should be about 10 separating them if your Exakick is able to CS this up. Topside action again. I don't know if I'm getting baited. Myrwn, he's actually taking a really bad trade once again in that topside.
And that's the rough thing, is every time you see it, Ragnar's just taking a nice trade, landing all of those sweet spots onto Myrwn and making his life really hard. A 20 CS lead has started to build up here, and gold lead itself, only 800 over to the side of LDLC, but it's what they can do with that minor lead, with that little bit of pressure that they're accruing for themselves now, where that bleeds into and when that starts to extend the gold lead even further.
It's going to be around.
We did a pretty good job actually staying up in farm, though. Oh, looking for that, but no, Guubi's just going to lose half his health, and they're going to call it.
And I mean, now they at least get the tempo reset themselves. Rift Herald spawning in just 5 seconds. If you're able to have your support move first, that would be good. Oh, they decide to be cheeky with it.
Oh, that's a nice flash there. Guubi jumping forward as he's going to throw out the Feather Storm and pull them back. Exakick will go down, and now DOS has no one to run to, no one to hide behind, and he will heal, but he will lose his life as Guubi pulls back the feathers and gets himself slaughtered by the cat. It's a 1 for 2. But Bisons will be happy with that, unless Yike can maybe find a little bit more. Obscure, making sure the wave crashes. May go for a little swim here. Yike should spot him out. Goes for the hook and swims away.
And just like that, when they spot the jungler down on the bot side, they should just immediately engage onto the Rift Heralds. And that's exactly what Albetrayber has been done. A great 2v2 to come out from Guubi. This is a guy that has made it onto the European Masters stage so many times. Back when he played on Samsung Morningstars, he was against LDLC playing against the likes of Yellowstar and Exakick. And they won that game too with the upset. This guy might just be LDLC kryptonite.
Absolutely amazing stuff there. Sure, Guubi goes down, but the kill goes on to the Yuumi. So not the most useful person as Albetrayber, actually being zoned away from the Eye of the Herald, but realizes, Yike, you're not that strong. You just got Merc treads, so it's able to walk back and pick that up. And the question for me is where are they going to use that, as Guubi actually has found out Yike, and Yike's on the wrong side of the map here. Obscure's going to make sure he can't get away as he looks for the hook, is going to force the flash out. They're going to jump in forward past the blast cone. Obscure jumps forward. Now he's going in for a Yike. They've got a bit more. As Exakick jumps over, he's caught, he's pinned in place, but Guubi's now going low, and that's going to be a double kill picked up for Exakick. Random now underneath the tower. No ultimate available, no flash available, as well as the wave is starting to crash forward. Random going a little bit low. They may jump for more, but the tower not juggled perfectly. The health bar's a little bit too rough to go any further. And that is a lovely turnaround by LDLC.
At least they get the trade-off there. At least they get some kills on Exakick, and they get some to get the ball rolling. LDLC now staying at a 2k gold lead. But the play is to be made by Bisons now. They still picked up that Rift Herald. They still need to be the one taking action. Finding out where they want to accumulate that gold. Good potential for it in the mid lane if they can get the pickup on Yike. Remember, though, he is still running those Merc Treads, and with no ultimate from Random, it would be some difficult matters. So surely just getting some mid prio, moving it down towards the bot side, starting up that Rift Herald should be the play.
Yeah, might just be the angle, because Exakick now 3-1. Triforce finished up into Eclipse of Guubi. You really don't want this Zeri to continue rolling, like you were saying in Champ Select as well. This is all that Zeri wants, is just like someone who can speed her up and keep her alive. Exakick does have to be a little bit careful, because there are a lot of things jumping towards him, but they will lose this tower. But the rest of the team are actually coming down. The tower will crumble. And it looks like Exakick's just going to catch up on the rest of this farm. Make sure they can pick this one up. Bisons get that first tower blood for themselves in the bottom side of the map as Ragner. Actually, only been able to pick up no plates so far. Should be closing in on that first plate. Wow.
And yeah, a little bit of skirmish on the top side. It's not going to mean much at the end. Second Drake has been picked up from Bisons with the priority they had around that bot side, but the priority they had around the mid lane, they're able to pick it up just uncontested. Gold lead, not very far from each other. Slight gold lead is still in favor of LDLC, but I can imagine that a lot of this gold lead currently is actually sitting on Ragner, which I don't know how much will mean once we finally reach that mid game. And we'll see the team fight breaking out. Eika in the mid lane.
Double chains on, he's getting the sigil, he's in execution range, he's waiting for his opportunity. Gonna look for the clone, Yike jumping forward as well. Random just able to survive. Meanwhile, there's a bit of a scrap happening in the top side. Might be looking to go in the bottom side. I think we've seen this one before. Ultimate's getting popped up plenty. Exakick dodges away on the Featherstorm, but he is dunked by Obscure and taken down. Meanwhile, kills traded on the top side, and there's the second dunk. X marks the spot. Bison's cashing in.
Yeah, that's how you gain a gold lead. You let Pyke take the kills with the ultimate, gain 300 extra gold, put that in there. Look at the gold between the supports as well. 4k on Oscure. Normally, I wouldn't highlight the supports, but this time around, we're talking about a Pyke. He's going to be building lethality. He's going to try and be a threat. And he's going to be trying to scout out for Yike. Now he can just team up with Albetrayber as well. You can start that 2v2 jungle support that we so often highlight in competitive League of Legends.
Lane swap's coming out as Bison's able to pick up that tower with plates as well on the bottom side thanks to the Herald charge. Maybe try and just funnel a little bit more gold into Guubi. I was actually having a chat with you before the broadcast, or during the beginning of the broadcast, about this Xayah build, but we'll hold that thought because this is the action we missed in the top side.
Yeah, Myrwn, he's just not having a good time up here. He's out of mana. He's taking way too many bad trades. He's just trying to farm, and Ragner, I mean, even with a flash, it's not enough. He's just taking the kills, getting out of there with the... Oh, actually, 1 for 1. That's great. I didn't actually see that.
Yeah, it was a good... It was a, they did trade rapidly. It was 1 HP on the blue buff?
Yeah, he got it with the Iron Spike whip, 1 HP. I was actually so unlucky.
That's rough. That's so rough. Well, we're only at the 13-minute mark, closing on the 14, so Guubi should be able to get at least one last plate before everything will despawn from the plates, but that's a lot of gold onto Guubi. I'd like to see if actually we could toggle the gold and see the individual gold between the players. We'll see if we can do that. I'm curious to see actually where the gold is right now, because it is a 1,200 gold lead, and yeah, it's 1,000 of that is sitting on Guubi over Exakick.
And that's exactly where you want it to be. Like, it's playing through that bot side. It's playing to Guubi. And, you know, Guubi as a player had a little bit of a slow start to the LFL. Or not the LFL, but the LVP split. But once he finally reached playoffs, he started getting the MVP votes. He started being the guy, being praised for his versatility as an AD carry, not only in terms of playstyle, but also in terms of champion pool. And now back on the Xayah, which was one of his original best champions. He used to be known for his Kaiser Xayah. How do I know this? Well, I was coaching him back then, just to throw myself in there as well. So this is a guy that's been in the scene for a little while, trying to make it through the European Masters, and, you know, trying to once again make a statement in an underdog story, trying to take down LDLC.
And we've had a few underdog stories against the LFL today. This would be a big upset to be able to beat the first seed. Bison's definitely staying competitive in this game, but LDLC first from the defending league for a reason. A team who have had multiple appearances at the European Masters as well. Let's take a quick stock of where we are in the game right now. So the gold lead is just a 1,000 gold lead over to the side of Bisons. Obviously, the most of that gold is on Guubi, who you were highlighting, and with this fairly cheap build path as well. Almost got that Myrwn mana fully stacked up, so he's on the 2 items right now. Exakick on the meanwhile, very expensive build. Triforce into Titanic, or is it Ravenous? I can't remember which one it is now. That's really bad. I can't remember which one he takes, which one Zeri takes. Anyway, regardless, it's
Titanic.
an expensive build. So it is Titanic, thank you.
You're welcome.
Myrwn is continuing a streak of a pretty uncomfortable game, although teleport's coming in. They may just be looking to turn this around. They've actually got Obscure coming in as well. Will spot a couple of people out. The hook will stop Yike from going for the escape. They do look to jump onto Obscure. There is the final chapter. Get a little bit more damage. Waiting for this execute bars to come up, but Eika's making his way forward, and Bisons are losing members left, right, and center. 2 kills have been picked up. Guubi has now joined in. The gold lead is here, but the health bars are too low. They're trying to see if they can find more. Executes of plenty are available as Guubi able to find himself 1 kill. Pulls out the Feather Storm for the moment. Over the wall, Ragner goes. The Feathers get pulled back and don't hit onto anyone as Exakick secures the kill. LDLC coming out huge.
Brilliant team fighting from LDLC. They just pick apart the members of Bisons, and Bisons, they're playing that fight so uncoordinated. So many members wanted to leave. Random wanted to farm the bot wave, and it just seemed like they're on a different page. And just like that, the tempo of Bison has been broken down. The Drake stacking has been broken down, and Guubi has been shut down as well.
Really, really good stuff there for the side of LDLC. Now they're the ones with the 1,000 gold lead. So that was a net gain of 2,000 gold fight, basically. And oh man, this is so rough for you. The chains are going to connect. The kitty cat comes in to make sure Eika's not in any threat. The double chains are on just to add salt in the wounds. And Ragner, 3rd kill here on that Aatrox. Going to go back to base, spend that gold, and this gold lead now starting to blow a little bit more. A little bit further out of control.
No. And here we get to see it again. Myrwn once again just trying to, like, it looks like he wants to start off the team fight, especially with Oscure coming down. But Random, he just used his W on the minion wave trying to clear them. He actually doesn't have that for the fight right now. So you can go in, you can try and find the ultimate, but none of the members are there at the same time. They have a gold lead, but as you said while you were casting as well, the gold lead wasn't there. Guubi came to the fight way too late, and once he finally joins the fight, well, yes, they're able to pick up 1 kill, but the rest of LDLC are still around, and they're still chasing them down. Guubi, crucially, doesn't find a route either with his feathers, and because of that, they get to chase him down under the tower.
That was a very, very rough fight for Bisons. Obscure just heavily trunked out at the beginning as well. They are starting to look a little bit scattered as we close in on that 20-minute mark. Guubi, 2.5 items in, though, on the Xayah, still in a pretty comfortable position, level 11. Looks like they might be looking for something here, potentially.
Potentially LDLC picking the first win of the day as well for LFL, which is obviously interesting. If you've missed today, LFL, they've lost all their games so far. X7 beat out BDSA, and then later Bifrost did beat out, help me out here, what was the name? K-Call. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. Fighting the mid lane though.
Final chapter's being thrown down. They're pinning everybody in place as the dunks can start to come in. They're able to find him though. Obscure unable to find it. And LDLC just find 2 quick kills. Random maybe coming over the wall. Can he find his opportunity? I think he's just going to have to call it quits, although he's waiting for the opportunity. A double kill picked up. And that is a triple onto the Khazix. Random will claw away to safety. And LDLC, they have just flipped the switch. It is all in their hands right now. Random will get himself out to safety, won't get pulled back in, and is actually teleporting away as Ragnar won't be able to interrupt. That was so close!
I might have literally been on the frame. Holy moly, as soon as that Q came down, he was out. And the team fights, they're getting so rough for Bison right now. They're just getting run down. They're not able to properly front to back it. And let's just have a look at that through the replay again. Obviously, I was mistaken with as well. X7 beat out K-Cup, different with Bifrost. But you just see it. They just run them down. It's Yike who's flanking. They're all getting brooded up by the Yuumi. And as soon as the one members fall, the rest are just getting resets off with the Aatrox. It's not Jinx getting excited, but it's still the movement speed. Flashes forward to get the CC. And there's nothing Bisons can do. They're all left to try and play kite, but they just don't have the capabilities to do so.
They look scattered, I think is probably the best way to really word it. Bisons look, you know, almost as if they're not sure that these fights are going to be breaking out. They're not really prepared for them. They caught off guard and then don't really seem to have an answer. And Exakick, you know, we were talking about the gold lead that was, you know, picked up by Guubi. It's slowly but surely getting alleviated here as now got that Titanic, now got that Triforce. There's 2 item kind of big spikes here for Exakick. All summoner spells up as well available as Ragner just really feeling it. Jumps over the wall.
It's looking dire.
It is looking very dire, Guubi. Very, very dire.
Especially with the vision control, you can see it. It actually heavily favors Bison. Around this Drake at the moment, 2 pink wards, 3 pink wards actually. But surely LDLC should be able to move their members in there. You can already see it. Eika, he's pushed in the top side. Multiple members of Bison is going to be missing out on that golden experience. So LDLC, they're just on top of the play.
Oh, nice hit. That's the opening to get themselves a shutdown. It's 1-for-1 so far. Oscure can't reset because he's dead. Albetrayber trying to do as much as possible, but Exakick's untouched. Ragner's in the middle of everyone. The Feather Storm coming down, but Guubi not got the health bar to keep this going as Exakick will slide forward, and Ragner will secure another kill for LDLC. Just like that, 2 quick kills picked up.
And despite the fight starting out positively for Bisons there, the rest of LDLC, they're just so far ahead. Eika, Exakick, Ragner especially on this Aatrox are just running amok on the members of Bisons. And it just feels so doomed. It feels so difficult for them to fight it. Guubi though still dealing damage with the lethality Xayah.
I don't know. Eika's also dealing damage, able to blink in and blink out and get the kill. Eika finds the execute onto Guubi.
Just like that, that's an AD carry standing under the turret. You can't do that, that's not allowed. Eika punishes him immediately for his overstep, standing at that 13 turret.
The 22-minute mark, and it felt like it was, well, I mean, it was only like 4 minutes ago, maybe 5 minutes ago, where the gold lead was 1,000 to Bison. Now, it is 5,000 to LDLC. They are significantly far ahead of their counterparts in this game. They got both of the Infernal Dragons under their belt as well. So if they can get that soul, it's going to be a big soul for them. A lot more bursts coming out. And we had questions about the bug, but it is doing a lot of work.
I still feel like it's the soloiness against LDLC really are showing up. Eika might be getting caught off.
That was a big shutdown. That's a lot of gold as well, because Oscure shares that. Random just cashed in heavily off the back of that. Lovely pick.
Great execute coming through. They're going to need more of that, though. One is not going to be enough, and they're still sitting on bounties. If they'd be able to pick up any of the turrets, that'd be great, but problem is, it's none of the outer turrets standing, it's the inner turrets, and getting to them when you have no pressure whatsoever in their side lane. The only reason they have it in top right now is because, you know, Eika died. Well, that is not a good situation for Bison. They're kind of just left to wait around for LDLC to make a move. They need to set up their vision control. They need to be creative. They need to find some picks. Because right now they're just limited by the gold lead that LDLC has accumulated for themselves.
Yeah, those little picks are the big thing. Another pick like that onto Eika, but you do it onto Ragner. That's another big injection of gold that could potentially get shared, especially when you got the Pyke. Like picks like that are actually, especially onto shutdown targets, are really high value. And you know the gold lead can swing back if you just find a couple more of those. You find a good opportunity. If it's at the right time, it can bleed into a different objective. Obviously, at that time, there was nothing really on the map other than the Baron. And don't think Bisons are going to start Baron just because they killed a LeBlanc.
Oh, they might. I mean, the
looks like it still might be looking for Exakick, well. Actually.
But they might deciding not to do that. Because they have so good vision control. You can also see it. They moved him up, but as you said yourself, Eika, he's not even there. He's down towards the bot side. But LDLC, they're just baiting them. They're toying with the idea they might have been a Baron, and you can see what that does to Bison. Immediately, they force all their members into the mid lane, and that gives so much room for LDLC to play around with.
Ragner with a Yuumi is probably the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's a 5-1 Aatrox with Death's Dance and Gore Drinker and a Yuumi. Like, that is horrendous. How are you going to deal with that thing?
The thing is as well, they've done so when the pain you get from Death's Dance when it burns, like you can shield and heal that way, of course, with enchanters too. So having Yuumi around you, as well with the with the Moonstone Renewer, it's not fun. Like, yes, you can have healing reduction. When he's ahead of the curve, it's not even gonna matter. That's the sad reality.
Yeah, it's so rough. LDLC, they are looking to pick up this second tower in the bot side. Would be their 4th of the game as Random just able to duck behind the minions before those chains do land in. Bison's just struggling to find an opportunity to come in, but Exakick's going to pop the ultimate. The Featherstorm's already been used. Random's in the middle of everyone. Pops himself the ultimate for the moment. Obscure looking for Executes, waiting for his opportunity to get the kill, but Ragner coming alive. And just like that, it's a triple kill picked up for Exakick. Random continues to run away. They jump over the wall as Eika continues to chase. The slow lands onto Random. He claws back to safety. Eika flashes forward and will land the chains. There's the ace. There's the kills. LDLC coming up huge and showing us why they are the LFL's first seed.
And the fight was just played so nicely as well. Stopwatch from Ragner. That really made the difference. You know, if Oscure pops up with the resets there, maybe there's a world where Bison might come out of top. But as soon as he's out of the stopwatch, gets back inside, gets healed up again, fight is over 100%. And now they'll just be making multiple plays. Take the bot side turret, take the Baron at the same time. Why not? You're so far ahead, you can allow yourself to do it.
Absolutely. Baron now going to get picked up here for LDLC, just to extend this gold lead even further. They can reset, they can turn their attention towards the dragon, but for now, Ragner getting turned onto. But like we were saying, he's got a Yuumi. He's so hard to handle. The teleports are coming in. Yike's in the area as well. The flash comes out from Obscure and they don't even land onto the hook as Ragnar able to jump away. He's going to jump into the middle of everyone. Look at the sustain he's going to have. Keep your eyes on this Aatrox. The World Ender is on. The shielding, the healing, the ultimate. Everything's getting burnt. The Gore Drinker's on. He's living for so long, but it's not going to be long enough. The rest of the team are making their way over. Exakick has ultimate. He's ready to jump in. He's ready to go, baby. That's one already picked up for Yike. That's a second one. He's got himself a double. In jumps Yike to secure another. They're now looking for Albetrayber. He has to flash away, but Yike is not done with him. He's going for the triple kill. Teleport's coming out, but it's not going to save his life for now. He can only watch as his entire team fall. An absolute slaughter from LDLC.
They're just generally showing up in these fights. You get one target down. You saw how much they had to use just to get Ragnar. And the rest of them, they just come piling in into the team fight. Mid lane pushing in, bot lane pushing in. This should be it for LDLC. They should finally take the game that puts LFL back on the board today.
It is a much needed breather here for the LFL. It has been a rough day for them. 2 losses already, but the first seed coming up huge as the Nexus will crumble. Not before they try to pad the stats a little bit more and take out this Gragas, but down goes the Nexus. 28 minutes on the clock in a 37-kill game. LDLC find themselves their win.
I mean, they just showed up today. Little struggling in the bot lane in the early game, but outside of that, they were relentless. They really just, you know, toying around with Bifrost, especially in these team fights. They got so far ahead. And Ragnar specifically, you have to highlight this guy, you know, coming in from the TCL, playing European regional leagues now, and then just, he's been great in terms of just all the picks he's bringing out. We see it in Aatrox this time around. He's played the Akali in the LFL as well, and he does it with barely any resources given to him. This was just him in the 1v1 scenario against Myrwn, and he just made him look like he was out of his league.
Well, we actually have the head coach for LDLC, Zeph, standing by for this game. So, Zeph, hello, can we hear you? You here? Hey,
yeah,
how's it going?
I can hear you guys. It's going very good.
How
we won,
was
so
that
I'm really
game?
happy.
Awesome. I mean, that was a go. Sorry. There's a bit of a delay.
Exactly. It's a bit of a delay, but yeah, I was gonna say, I think I was really happy after the draft. I felt like Pyke didn't really get his place in the draft, and we just had to respect like early game, and then I was just really happy of the game went.
And
there
in
was
general,
go on, delay.
We'll get better. And honestly, after a game like this, you know, you pretty much come swinging out the gate. Little struggles in the bot side. Like, how do you feel moving into this European Masters? Like, you're the first seed of LFL. Who do you really see as a threat moving forward now?
As a threat, I mean, in the groups, I think we're fine. We should be easily going out. The problem, I think, is like looking at the U-Master, the strongest team would be Fnatic, I would say. Although they lost today, which is kind of good. But honestly, I think it was just a bad game from them. I think they're still the strongest. BDS is looking good as well, just like because we fought them in LFL that were really strong opponents. So yeah, I think not much to worry about, and we just go game per game, you know.
Kind of talking about that game, was there anything you were maybe a little bit worried about? Because we kind of touched on it a little bit during Champ Select, but Bisons are kind of a bit of a mad scientist team. Their drafts can be a little bit crazy and a little bit hard. Was there anything you were like, oh, I'm really a bit worried about that going into this game?
Yeah, honestly, I think I was really happy that they gave us Zeri. I know they could have went something like Nasus and stuff, but we were kind of prepared to play against it. I was mostly happy that they played like standard, you know, they picked the Zinza with triple ban. We knew they were going to do it. We are happy to give it to them. They played the Xayah, which is really good news for us as well. And they didn't go for like weird stuff we never encounter, you know. So yeah, we are just really happy of how the draft went.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the win. Go on, mate. Sorry.
No, if we're done, we're done. Go on.
Congratulations on the win, mate. We'll speak to you soon, hopefully, and good luck with the rest of your games coming up at the European Masters. We'll see you later. Oh man.
All right.
See you later, mate.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers. What a fun delay, Guubi.
Yeah, I love it, don't you? This is great, isn't it? Let's do this all the time.
Should we talk about that game though? Because to be fair, we could see what Bisons were looking to do. They had that very strong mid and jungle synergy. They also obviously, you know, the Pyke as well. You could see what the kind of game plan was that to kind of rotate it and move it around the map. But they took some good skirmishes early. In the early game, you know, there was definitely signs of promise from Bisons, but LDLC just got to a point where they went, okay, we know what we're doing now, and we're just going to win this out.
It's really also the fact that they never really could be the aggressors. You know, the fact that you couldn't be the one looking for the plays with the Pyke and the Lissandra, but they were the one being committed to plays on. It's super easy when you have a Yuumi just running people down, and they have to use all their tools to run away. Like, if you can't go in with the Pyke, if you can't go in with the Lissandra, all of a sudden, lots of your tools are just taken out of your kit that you had in your team composition. Yeah. And it's kind of like the coach just said, right? We see Bisons drafting standards, something that LDLC hope, because that's the style they love to play. They love beating you out in these team fight scenarios. They love getting that lead in the early game and then just taking it into these scenarios that we're seeing right now. And you see how far Ragner gets. Like, this is almost 5 versus 2, and he just stays alive for so long. It buys so much time for the rest of LDLC to be able to join the fight. And when that happens, you know, it's just over.
It's been it was one hell of a game. It was one hell of a game. Honestly, we've had a few upsets today, I think it's fair to say. Game 5 definitely felt like the biggest upset we'd had. But for LDLC, that was a game where we did have the expectations that they were going to take it. There were obviously concerns, though, because the LFL, you know, it's been a rough day for them. Even with this win, they are only 1-2 as a region right now. And this is probably a massive confidence boost for the rest of them. But like you're saying, you know, a lot of things kind of aligned for them. Bison's playing a more standard comp and kind of playing into the hand of LDLC in that sense. But overall, you know, pretty good day so far. We've had a lot of upsets, actually. Fnatic loss and all that. But let's have a little look at the standings, and we can kind of go over that a little bit more with the numbers on our screen. So you can see over in Group A, the 2 teams are 1-0. I mean, it's only Group D where things are a little bit different. And then obviously in Group C, everybody is tied up there. So a lot to play for in Group C.
Yeah, lots of tiebreaker scenarios already coming up if we want to go that far. But I mean, as you already said, it's a best of 1. Some of the teams coming in as favorites had a little bit of maybe they got upset, right? A little bit of an off day. But I feel like moving forward, that also is a wake-up call to go like, well, this is a best of 1. We really need to hit the day when we play.
Well, let's have a look at tomorrow's games and see what we've got coming up. We are starting with Unicorns of Love taking on LDLC. Team Phasma will be taking on Carmine Corp. Any games on there that are like really jumping out to you right now, Guubi?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to the Eintracht Spandau versus Vitality that we're finishing out the evening with. I feel like Eintracht have really, shown up from the Ultraliga, or not Ultraliga, from the Prime League, and it's a team that it's a region, as of Prime League that have struggled a little bit in the most recent European Masters. They haven't really been able to leave their mark. Ever since they took the title, nothing's really come out of them. And that's almost 2 years ago right, at this point, right? So this is a league that I'm certainly looking forward to, especially when they're taking on an LFL seed with Vitality B, who is really just rallying behind Zigendo on that Gwen. So I'm looking forward to that matchup for sure.
Absolutely. I think that probably is going to be the game for me. Although I do like look at the game of Legion versus X7. See how that game goes. Obviously, X7 having an absolute stomp of a game. And, there were statements made from the coach in the interview saying, this is the scariest mid-jungle in this tournament. We'll have to see, if that's a statement that is true. But, I'm willing to believe it. Those two have been absolutely incredible. So that's a game that I'm pretty excited for. But for here at the Amazon European Masters, that is us done for the day. We will be back tomorrow, same time, with 6 more games. So make sure you tune in for that one. But for now, thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.